Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of True Myths, One Lie, the game show in the form of a podcast all about myths, urban legends, conspiracies, crazy stories in general. Today's episode is a little bit different. I am not your host, Anthony Manella. Today's host is Tom Heinlein. It's a special episode. We're trying something a little bit different. I've been saying since the beginning that I wanted to do episodes where they're just about some crazy stories in general, things that sound unbelievable but are real. And this is the first time we're going to do that because Tom has some delivery driver horror stories. 2 of these are real. 1 of them is made up. It is up to us and you guys at home to try and figure out which story is the fake one. Tom, take it away.
Awesome. I get to sit in the cool chair.
You do.
I'm not used to sitting not next to you.
No, I know. Usually we're on the same team, but you know what? I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to have you guys here. I'm happy to have everyone at home listening or watching. And let's get this thing started.
It's weird being in this chair.
It is weird, right?
That one specifically.
This one specifically.
Yeah.
I feel like if I was in one of those 2, it would feel normal.
That's the
Wanna
Toph chair.
No. Oh, why? You want to sit next to Tom?
I do.
All right, fine.
All right. Let's get this thing going.
Yeah.
So just as a little preface here. So I think Anthony told the story one time about how they ordered for delivery for me, set up a game of Mario Kart. I showed up to their house, played said game of Mario Kart, left, and went back to work.
Yeah, I think I used that as your intro for the first episode you were in.
You did. And so that's the inspiration for this episode here, where I have some crazy stories for delivery driving. You can call them delivery driver horror stories if you'd like. And we're going to jump right in. So my first guest here is and was the best man to the best man at my own brother's wedding, Anthony Manella.
A pleasure to be on the other side of this.
Oh, thank you. My second guest has the most on the line tonight, literally his life, Ryan McCauley.
Yeah, there's a lot riding on this. If I don't get it right for the team, then Tom's just gonna kill me on the spot.
That's it. It won't be on camera, so no one has to look away.
But it'll be on audio, so you'll all be able to hear it.
That is true. And my last guest tonight is contractually obligated to appear here with me, not my dad, Larry Manella.
It's great to be here. And if we're ever not going to be on the same team, which we are not tonight, this is my last podcast.
Well, don't
Wait,
you?
I'm sorry, what?
No, I'm only kidding.
Well, don't you worry. I'll make sure that contract gets renewed. We're going to go ahead and get started. I just want to put this disclaimer out there that I have not changed any names or details. I don't care about their privacy. So just so that's on the record. Feel free to edit it out. Feel free to keep it.
So one thing I just need to preface this with is that this is the first time that these are first-hand account stories. These have really happened to you. Normally on this podcast, we tell stories that we've told or that we found online. You really can confirm that the 2 true stories are 100% real this time.
These are 100% real, every detail as I remember them.
Right.
Now, keep in mind, some of these stories date back 8 years in the past, but my memory's pretty good. So these are 100% true stories that have actually happened to me.
I believe it. I know you had some crazy things happen, so.
Yes. So we're going to go ahead with story number 1. Okay. So it's important to recognize that the store I worked in was in a strip mall. Okay. Now, not a strip mall but a strip mall, multiple stores in one big building. And so I was walking out on the delivery one day, and as I was walking out, I saw someone run out of the Subway next to me. Subway, the sandwich shop. Right? Someone runs out, and when they run out, they are carrying a cash register. Now, yep, laugh if you'd like. I'm not talking like the cash, drawer. I'm talking the cash register. 3 feet of a register. Then they get on a bicycle and pedal away. The store owner comes out, he's looking around, and I'm rubbing my eyes, did I really just see what I thought I saw? Surely not. So I get in my car and go on my delivery like I normally would. I don't get paid enough to deal with that. I come back from my delivery, and the place is caution taped off, and there are sirens and lights going off, and there are cops with their notebooks. And so I park, I walk up to one of the police officers, and I go, "Hey, was this by any chance a robbery?" And he goes, "Well, that's what we're calling it now, son." I was like, I think I saw the guy. He's like, all right, well, you're gonna have to go back in the store. We'll have an investigator come talk to you. So I go back into my store, and sure enough, a little bit later, one of the investigators comes in. Now I'm not talking like full uniform police officer. I'm talking like suit and tie, badge clipped to his belt officer. Like, this guy is big time. And he comes in, he's like, are you the one who said he saw something? I said, yes, sir. I tell him what I saw. I said, I saw a guy run out with the cash register. I saw him get on the bike and pedal away. He goes, did you say pedal away? Yes, like his bicycle, and pedaled away. He gave me this look of like, you expect me to believe that? And it is, I said, officer, this is the truth. This is what I saw. Well, sure enough, and I kid you guys not, that night they caught the guy because they followed the loose change that was dropped on the ground.
Oh my God.
A couple of blocks up, and found the guy's bike with the cash register.
That's amazing.
Wow. And that is story number 1. I'm going to give you guys some time to discuss, and then we'll move on.
That's so incredible.
That was a fantastic story, and I totally believe it.
I believe it too. How does Tom know that they caught the guy?
Because it was probably in the news, my guess. But that is a really good point. How does Tom know that he caught the guy?
Am I allowed to answer that? Am I supposed to answer that?
That's up to you.
You can answer if you want to.
Because the investigator who interviewed me came back and told us about what happened. As someone who got interviewed, they followed up with us in the store. And especially because Subway was next to us, it was just something that was talked about.
Interesting.
Okay, maybe because Subway is next door, but like, do they usually follow up?
I don't know.
I feel like they don't care.
Now, do they follow up?
They would follow up. I have a feeling that this one does sound true because I know exactly where you work. Right next door is a Subway.
Well, we all know that.
yes.
He's not going to lie about that.
But
Oh, you got me.
since he was interviewed by the detective, I do believe that he did come back and tell you, that they did catch the guy, just to put all of you at ease too.
Now,
So-
I wanted this to turn into like a hero story. You chased the guy in your car, and you followed him down, and you were like, "Hey, did you steal that?" And he was just like, "No," and then you let him go, and then the story ended there. But that didn't happen.
I want to say what was going through my brain when Tom was telling the story. The part when we got to the investigator came in to talk to him. I pictured the investigator as Tom from that video that we did where he's in the suit.
So in other words,
I pictured Tom
And I
talking
said
to
suit and
Tom.
tie.
Yeah.
I just imagined you having like interviewing yourself, and you're just talking to yourself, and it was really funny in my head.
Are you guys ready to move on to story number 2?
Yeah.
I think we're ready.
I think I'm right now convinced that one was real.
Okay, I want to hear the other ones before I say anything.
I don't want to hear the other ones. That's the real
So we
story.
just lock it in now?
We just got to take a 50-50 gas coin cash register toss, if you will.
We could leave this episode up to a coin toss.
We've done it before. Me and Seth have played rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, and you guys shouldn't have.
And we shouldn't have because Seth ends up winning the rock, paper, scissors and then losing the game for us. But yeah.
All right, guys. Story number 2. A bunch of our customers were real regulars. I'm talking they would order multiple times in the same week. I knew them by heart. And as a delivery driver, I knew their names, I knew their addresses, I knew how much I was going to get tipped. One of those regulars was Bernie, name not changed. My biggest issue with Bernie was he was a real weird dude. And so I've been to his house a bunch of times. He, most of the time, answered the door without a shirt on, and he had jeans on that were tied together with a shoelace to keep them held up because they were way too big. One time...
Okay.
Oh, what were you going to say?
You didn't have a belt?
I am not paid to ask questions. I was paid to drop off the food and take the money. One time when I delivered to him, he was wearing a shirt, thankfully, but was not wearing pants. And so that was an interesting encounter. But this one time that really stands out is I knocked on his door, and when he answered, he was wearing both a shirt and pants. To my surprise, his shirt was tattered and bloodstained, and his pants had turned into jorts, jean shorts for those of you who don't understand, because they were so tattered that they had basically been ripped up into shorts. Still tied together with a shoelace, though, so he had his signature, accessory.
Outfit, yeah.
Yes. And he had ordered his normal, that was the only thing that was out. He ordered 2 potatoes, 2 baked potatoes, and 4 sides of butter, which is normal order.
That's what he gets at a chicken place?
That is what he got.
I also just, when he first just said like potatoes instead of baked potatoes, like he ordered 2 whole raw potatoes.
I suppose we would have sold them to him like that, but I don't know.
If that's what he wanted.
I would have been like, listen, I'm not going on this delivery. I can't. It's just too much for me. So that's his normal order. So this is the only thing that was out of place at the time. But then he's like, hey, can you come in? I got something to show you. And like, I hated going into people's houses.
How often did you do it?
A lot.
Oh my
A
God.
lot. Probably more often than not, to be totally honest, but I hated it still. So I go in, because I want to get paid. That's what I'm there to do. And he's like, come here to my basement. I got something to show you.
Oh, no.
And I was like, no, like, it's all good, Bernie. Like, I'm just going to take the money and go. And he's like, no, kid, like, really, like, I really got to show you something in my basement. Come on. And I was like, Bernie, no, thank you. Like, I'm not going down. And I just left the chicken on the counter and left. And to this day, I have no idea what he wanted to show me. No idea why his clothes were bloodstained. I did go back to the store and tell them what happened. I've taken his delivery since, and nothing as weird as that has ever happened. And that's story number 2.
Oh, that's horrifying. I was hoping you weren't going to say, so I went down there.
Yeah, I was hoping that too, but at the same time, I also wanted to know
Yeah.
what was going to
It
happen.
I am curious.
sounds like you caught him in the act of murdering someone, and he was like, now that he knows, I have to take him to the basement and kill him too. That's what it sounds like.
It's what it sounded like to me at the time, which is why I didn't go down.
Yeah, and I'm glad you didn't go down, because maybe you wouldn't be here telling the story on the podcast
Maybe it
right
would have
now.
made a better story if I went down.
No, what if you weren't allowed to tell it though?
But did it happen?
It's very believable to me.
I think this one's real.
Yeah, so do I. The one thing that's just weird to me is that, like, you told the store what happened and they still continued to deliver to the guy. I feel like if you reported that, like, this guy tried to bring a delivery driver into his basement and was really sketchy, that they should probably, like, make a ban on him.
Obviously, he's been not dressing appropriately. I definitely would have been tempted to go down there just to see what was down there.
God.
As long as he was in front of you.
I'm pretty confident this one is real.
Yeah, I'm willing to believe it's real.
I'm just curious, what's in that basement?
Why don't
But
you go, Larry?
do you think the story is real or not?
It definitely does sound real. And right now we have two stories that sound real. So right now we're already at 50.
I'm more skeptical of the first one.
So we are going to move on to story number 3. But first, we have a mini game. So this mini game that I've crafted for you guys, and we're going to keep it on topic. You know how we like to do it over here on True Myths One Lie. The mini game is Would You Rather, but it's a fast food gauntlet of Would You Rather.
Okay.
So we're going to have a little championship bracket of the fast foods here.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you 2 fast foods. You guys have to discuss amongst yourselves which is the better one. What your criteria is totally up to you. Then I'm going to go on to 2 other fast foods, and we're going to go down the line. Those first choices that you chose are then going to be pitted against each other in another round of Would You Rather. And then we're going to do one more round after that and pit those last choices against each other for the championship of all fast foods.
Okay.
You guys ready?
Yep.
Do it.
Okay. McDonald's or Burger King?
There's only one burger that I like at Burger King, and that's the Whopper. Everything else I do not like. So I'm going to go with McDonald's because Quarter Pounder, Big Mac, chicken, definitely McDonald's is my choice.
But is that Whopper good enough to supersede all the other burgers at McDonald's?
It is not.
Okay. All right. Well,
Hey,
so McDonald's it is? Is that
I
our
guess,
first
like,
choice?
'cause they
What about
both
you?
voted McDonald's, right?
I'm voting McDonald's. I once walked through the McDonald's drive-thru instead of driving through because I could swear that's what the lady said. Pretty sure she said, "Can you just walk up to the window so I could give you the toy that you want?" Yeah, I was there for a toy. Don't question it. And then I walked up to the window and she yelled at me. She's like, "Why are you walking through here?" I'm like, "I swear you just told me to do this."
Well, in that comparison, I once walked through a Burger King drive-through for Taekwondo. We were at a way for a competition, and we all late at night. We didn't have a car, and we all just walked through the drive-through, and they served us. So, in that sense, Burger King is better than McDonald's.
Yeah, McDonald's actually, no, they gave me the toy for free. She's like, just get out of here. You're going to get me in trouble.
I don't really know which one I would choose between the two of them, so I guess we'll just default to the majority.
Okay.
I feel like I would maybe lean towards McDonald's, but I honestly like both kind of equally, so McDonald's it is.
McDonald's it is. All right, it's locked in. Wendy's or Checkers?
Wendy's, 100%.
I'm with Wendy's.
I also want to say Wendy's.
You guys ready for the next one? This one's near and dear to my heart. So, Chick-fil-A or Popeyes?
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
No
Hands
hesitation,
down.
Chick-fil-A.
You asked me this a few years ago, I would have said Popeyes. But I feel like Popeyes went downhill, and I'm really mad about it. Yeah, I have to go Chick-fil-A. Their chicken sandwich is just so good. Their chicken nuggets are so good. Their grilled nuggets are so
Yeah.
good. Everything about them, so good.
Their
And they're
fries?
just so nice there.
You guys are all in good standing with me still. That would have been my choice too.
I will say though, like, the nice thing, I feel like they're either
it's fake.
hypnotized or they're robots.
I know, they probably
Or
go
it's a
home.
cult.
Yes.
And the only other thing that I will say is that I'm basing it strictly on their food because they have a controversial past, and I know some of my audience probably is conflicted towards Chick-fil-A, and I completely understand that. I'm basing my decision just on the way their food tastes.
Exactly, and that's how I described the beginning of this mini game is that
Yeah.
you can use whatever criteria you feel necessary, but I think judging it based on the quality of food
Yes.
strictly is a good way to go about this. All right, are you guys ready for the last one in this initial bracket?
Do it.
Yeah.
Taco Bell or White Castle?
Taco Bell, I've never had White Castle once in my life.
Okay, Taco Bell, and I have one reason, and it's sitting right in front of Ryan as we speak. Mountain Dew Baja Blast.
Baja Blast. Mountain Dew, Baja Blast.
If you go to Taco Bell and you don't get a Baja Blast, there's something wrong. I'm just kidding. There's nothing wrong with you, but there's also maybe something wrong with you.
I'm a little torn with this one because White Castle years ago was much better than it is today. I remember 30 years ago, we used to drive 20 miles to go to White Castle.
Wow.
However, they did change the taste of their burgers. Now, I still like White Castle, but I'm going to say that I am going to pick Taco Bell because if White Castle did not change, they were much better 20, 30 years ago. They were outstanding.
All right, so Taco Bell, we're locked in.
All right, locked in.
Round two.
Welcome to the semifinals, fellas. McDonald's or Wendy's?
My vote is for Wendy's.
I think McDonald's is good. Wendy's is good. Wendy's also has a lot of nostalgia for me personally. And Tom said we can vote for any criteria. So like,
you have some cool stories from Wendy's.
yeah,
Now that we've
funny
established
stories.
the criteria of being only food, you can change it anytime you'd like.
Can you tell that one story when you went as a whole group?
There was a Wendy's across the street from my Taekwondo school. And during the summertime, like we'd all I'd be at Taekwondo, I'd ride my bike there in the morning, be there all day long. And we'd all be there, this big group. So we would train and then we'd go to Wendy's. And this one time in particular, my Taekwondo master, Master Kwok, he took all of us, this big group, we all walked like a big migration to Wendy's. And we get in there and he orders for all of us and he orders only off the dollar menu. And he got like $60 worth of food off the dollar menu. And the staff was just like losing their minds. Like they were like running around like crazy, freaking out. They were visibly like very upset that we just ordered so much food. And like Master Kwok is just sitting there like leaning on the counter and he's like banging the counter. He's like, come on, you can do it. You have the power. You can do it. And he's just like, motivating them and cheering them on.
As
And-
they're cooking?
Yeah, as they're cooking and they're just so angry. It was so funny.
That is so
My
good.
goodness.
Yeah, I have so many Wendy's stories. I'm going to give it to Wendy's.
Food-wise, yes, Wendy's is better because they have the double, they have the triple, they've got the baconator. McDonald's menu has changed slightly, but Wendy's quality is better.
All right, Wendy's.
I'm voting
I'm
Wendy's.
gonna go with Wendy's as well.
Wendy's it is. Chick-fil-A or Taco Bell?
Chick-fil-A or
I'm
Taco Bell?
automatically going with Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, man, Chick-fil-A.
I take chicken over tacos any day.
Same.
Taco Bell. And it's not because of the food, it's because of the Baja Blast.
Oh my God.
Oh God,
Now I gotta say,
we've got plenty of it in the garage.
yeah, you don't need it.
And I guess that is a good point. I can now just drink it here, I don't have to go to Taco Bell. And in that case, I do prefer the food at Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A it is.
Is that the winner?
No.
No.
We're in
Not
the
yet.
finals now.
Not yet, but I have a sneaking
I have a
suspicion.
feeling.
I have a
mean,
sneaking
yeah.
suspicion it might be. The finals. Wendy's. Should we just
It's Chick-fil-A.
It's gotta be Chick-fil-A.
should we pour one out for Wendy's right now?
Yeah.
I'll do it right on
You
on
know
all
what?
the
They put up-
Pour out
electronics.
the Baja Blast for Wendy's.
It was a gallon effort, but
Yeah, they
Definitely
put up a
Chick-fil-A.
good fight, but in the long run, if I'm comparing Wendy's
To
to Chick-fil-A,
Chick-fil-A.
I don't even think it's close.
No, it's not.
Again,
It's not.
strictly based on the taste of
Based
their food.
on the taste
Yeah,
of food.
Because I don't necessarily support everything they stand for. So I guess we declared Chick-fil-A as our winner here, huh?
Chick-fil-A would be the winner.
That being said, we have to go to a quick little break. We will be right back. Is there something interfering with your happiness? Maybe there's too much on your plate or you have a lack of motivation? Because I know for me personally, when I have too many things that I need to do, I get very stressed and overwhelmed, and then I wind up not doing any of it, and then it only makes me more sad. Well, today's sponsor, BetterHelp, can fix that. BetterHelp takes a look at what you specifically need and matches you with your own licensed professional therapist. It's super convenient, a safe and private environment, all online. You can start communicating with someone in just under 48 hours. Now, it's not self-help or a crisis line, it's professional counseling done securely online. You can send a message to your counselor at literally any time, and you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions. And if for whatever reason you feel that your counselor isn't the right match for you, it's free to switch counselors. Not to mention, it's more affordable than traditional counseling, and financial aid is available. They specialize in depression, stress, anxiety, lack of sleep, self-esteem issues, so on and so forth. I want you to start living a happier life today. As a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/culture35. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/culture35. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's episode.
All right, so we're all in agreement that Anthony's kicked off and I'm the new host for good, right?
I am fully in for that.
What?
it's locked in.
All right.
I never really thought Anthony was a good host.
You're out.
Me neither. I really didn't think so. Oh, guys, the camera's back on. We're back. So we are going to jump right in to story number 3.
Cue music.
Wow, it worked. Nice job,
Yeah.
Dad.
Good job, Larry. See, this is why you're on my contract.
That's it.
For those of you who don't know what they're talking about, they have a invisible contract because it's not actually, it doesn't exist
It's a
really.
handshake.
It's mental, and every single time one of them is on the episode, the other one also has to be on an episode. So that's why they're only ever together.
That is true. So I'm assuming the music had cut for this part. So story number 3.
Cue music.
So one day I was delivering to this gentleman, Mr. Kerry. Now, Mr. Kerry was bedridden as far as I could tell, and I delivered to him a couple of times. And usually he had a caretaker who answered the door. Her name was Lynette. I didn't really mind delivering to him too much because he did tip really well. Unlike some other weirdos who we may or may not have talked about already, this guy tipped pretty well. But he was kind of a jerk on the phone. He would order on the phone and then Lynette would usually answer the door. It wasn't uncommon for her to be out on a run for like his medicine or for her to be doing whatever. She wasn't a stay-in caretaker for him, but she was there most of the time taking care of him throughout the day. So I get there this one time, I knock on the door and he yells, "Come in." I hated going into people's houses. This guy tipped well though. I was like, "All right, Mr. Kerry, I'm coming in." I walk into his house with the food. I put it by his bedside and he goes, "Hey, can you get..." "Oh, I'm sorry. Am I boring you?"
No.
For those of you who couldn't see, Anthony's yawning in my face right now.
No.
I didn't see it.
I'm just tired. I'm not bored.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So
As if no one's ever yawned during my stories.
No one has. We are not rude.
You guys totally have.
Cue the music.
I walk into Mr. Kerry's, I guess it wasn't his living room. It was like the den area where he sleeps in like a reclining chair, basically. And I put his food next to him on like the little snack tray that he had. And he goes, "Hey, can you go get me silverware from the kitchen?" Wasn't paid enough to do this, but this guy tipped well. So I walk into the kitchen, I get the silverware for him, I go through his drawers, whatever. It's a little grimy and gross, but it's not the most disgusting thing I put my hands in on this job.
What?
I think there's some other stories we gotta hear.
I literally used to skin the chicken myself. You guys know that, right?
Yeah.
That was part of my
I didn't.
job. And after you've skinned chicken, you've skinned them all.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I go and get him his silverware. I bring it back, and I'm like, okay, like, here you go. He's like, oh, can you get the plates for me? I keep them underneath my chair. Because it's like a reclining chair. I was like, okay. So I get down, I'm looking under his chair for the plates, and he's like, hey, while you're down there, can you get my bedpan and replace it for me? And I'm like, excuse me? He's like, yeah, it's only number 1, ha ha ha, and he laughs at me. And I'm like, at this point, I've got nothing to lose. So I pull the plate up, I put the food on the plate, I put the silverware, and I reach under this guy, slip out his bedpan. It is just number 1, like he told me. So I walk to his bathroom, dump it out in the toilet, go back to him, slip it back underneath, collect my tip, and leave. That is story number 3.
I can't believe you did that.
Oh my God.
Like I said, it's not the most disgusting thing I've put my hands in.
Anyway, I want to hear what you think about the story, Dad.
Well, the names of these people sound sincere. You know, it's not Joe and
Gertrude.
I mean, I don't know about you, Dad, but there's a lot of info here.
There is.
I'm leaning towards 1.
Number 2 and 3 both involved him having to enter somebody's home. Number 1 didn't. Number 2 and 3 had so many details, like people's names and all these specifics.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
all these things. And number 1 didn't have any of that.
And 2 and 3 are like similar in a way.
Yeah. But them being similar in a way is maybe he kind of based the fake one off of another story in a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
So.
I see your point, but something still is telling me that 2 and 3 are real. At the very least, they're based on maybe real people.
Right.
Tom, can you do us a favor?
Recap all 3 stories?
Yes, please.
Absolutely. Story number 1, I see a man exit Subway with a full-sized cash register, hop on his bicycle, ride away. The police then come question me about it. I tell them what I saw. They find him down the block because of the loose change trail that they had to follow. Story number 2 is Bernie, who has the bloodstained shirt, the jorts, invites me into his home, wants me to go down into the basement. I respectfully decline, leave the food with him, and flee the home. Story number 3 is Mr. Kerry, who also invites me into his home, asks me to get a few pieces of silverware, his plate, set the food out for him, then asks me to change his bedpan for him. I take it, dump out his number 1, as he called it, in the toilet, come back, slip it back under him, collect my large sum of money, at least for a college student, and leave his home. And those are the 3 stories.
They're all bizarre stories positions I would never want to be in. My vote is for 1.
Number 1. We've learned a lot about number 1 tonight.
More than we really needed to know. 2 and 3 had a lot of detail. I'm curious what was in that basement. Why didn't you go down there?
Why don't you go there, Larry? Go.
Yeah, if you want to know so bad.
You know his address.
The first one definitely sounds entertaining. And I am leaning a little bit now more towards number 1.
I gotta say, 2 is a definite, that's a real story. I think I'm pretty set on 2 being real. I think it's mostly between 3 and 1.
I would say the same thing.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna be wrong, just watch, but I just have a feeling it's 1.
here's the thing. There's a lot riding on this episode for me, like Tom said in the beginning, because for anyone who's following the statistics of the
A little breakdown.
our rankings, Toph is in first place. He has also been on the most episodes, so he has had the most chances. So I am at definitive second place, which is great.
So
and
there's
all.
even more riding
Yeah, now
on this
there's
because
even
now you
more.
need to tie for first.
I need to not only get further ahead of Austin, but I need to tie for first. And that is a big deal to me. But on the other hand, if we're wrong,
You have less pressure because you're already in second.
no, if we're wrong, Anthony loses. So that kind of makes me feel good.
Yeah, but does it really matter, Tom? Because you and I have the most viewed podcast.
As a matter of fact, more importantly, everyone watch this one so I become the new host and Anthony's kicked off.
Let's get me on the leaderboard here. I'm barely gonna be playing often, but I want to go for number 1. I don't know about you guys.
I'll do it.
Number 1.
Tom, we are locking in story number 1.
All right, you guys. It's not story number 1. It's not story number 3.
I am always right.
It is
I'm always
story
on to
number
him.
3. You guys were so close. Cue the music. Tell him.
Cue no music.
It is story number 3.
Well played.
Wow.
Well played.
Sorry, guys.
I am surprised because you
I'm
don't think-
glad though.
Yes,
that was
I didn't
fake?
actually touch
So
the
you
pee-pee.
didn't touch someone's
Yeah.
bedpan?
That is based on a real story, so it's not true. It is the truth that he did ask people to do it. This is a real man. Lynette, Mr. Kerry, all of those details are real. He never asked me to change his bedpan. He never asked me. I actually never delivered to him, believe it or
okay.
not. The other stories, 1,000% true. The cash register, 1,000% true.
Wow.
And Bernie, real man, really lives at the address I disclosed privately. And
We'll never know what was in his
We'll
basement.
never know what was in
until
his basement.
Larry goes to his house and asks him, goes into the basement and checks it out.
that's it, you guys. Thank you for joining my podcast. Thank you. We are actually changing the YouTube channel. It's still going to be Coulter35. It's just now going to be hosted by me. I'm going to do all of the acting, editing, all of that.
It's now going to be Cult 35, and then in parentheses in the username, it's just going to say Tom.
Hosted by Tom.
Coulter35 produced by Tom.
Right, yeah. Tom, thank you so much for hosting.
Thank you
Good
for being
job,
here. Thank you guys for no pun intended. I'm the winner chicken dinner over here. So it's been awesome. Don't forget, if you are watching it on YouTube, to leave a like, subscribe, comment down below all the things we said to comment. For our audio listeners, wherever you like to listen, give us a, I don't know, is it 5-star, 4-star, whatever the highest rating is. Make sure you click all those up there. Leave us a comment if you can. You can always reach out with stories of your own. If any of you are delivery drivers, reach out to me. My Instagram is Mr. Tomonomics. And if you have stories of your own that you want to submit to the channel, you can always, how do they submit those, Anthony?
They can submit them to truemythsonely@gmail.com or to my Instagram @culture35, whichever they prefer. The only other thing that I want to add is
Rate and review.
Well, that too, rate and review. But I hope that they liked this more experimental kind of a topic, because when I heard that you had crazy stories, I was like, Tom, you gotta tell them for a podcast, even though they're not necessarily like horror-based. I want to branch out a little bit, like I said, to just crazier things. So let me know in the comments if you liked these more kind of crazy but still realistic stories, because if so, we'll do more of them. I think this was a good episode. I thought it was funny. I thought it was cool.
I had a lot of fun also.
So did I.
So
Good job. Good job.
thank you. Larry, your opinion means the most to me.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you again next Tuesday with a brand new episode of the podcast, and on Friday with a brand new comedy skit. Bye, guys.